Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time here, my name is Beck. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm currently trying to lose weight following a calorie control diet using the NutriCheck app, and it's no secret, I've found the last few months a real struggle. And for me, I've still I've still tried to record, well, I've still recorded everything and shared things, even though sometimes it's not been the most motivational videos. But I think as well, it's important when you are doing something like this to share not just the ups and the progress, but the downs and the not so great progress as well, because it keeps it real, it keeps us relatable. And this is something that I actually mentioned yesterday. I was watching a video on Tracy Mouse, if you've seen her, Tracy's channel, I'm sure you're all following her, but she was finding things a real struggle, and it happens. We're not robots. We can't just switch our minds or click a switch and we're in the zone. That's not how this happens. Not for me. I mean, some people might be able to do that, but I definitely can't. But I think that when you're doing this and there's people that are watching, that are looking for ideas, advice and tips, that we show them that side of us as well. And that's exactly what I said to her. I said, the fact that you're going through this just shows us that you're a real person, and it keeps it more relatable. That's what I think anyway. So that's why when I am having a bit of a struggle, I'm still recording my food. I'm still showing you that I'm going over my calories. I'm still showing that I'm not having great days, and lots of people are doing that as well. And for me, getting back to it is definitely a difficult process. It's not being, like I said, you can't just flick that switch. That's not what happens. But the last couple of weeks for me have been creating good habits. And when you're feeling like you can't do things, it's important to just stop putting it off, which is what I was doing, and start doing it, if that makes any sense. Because, and I know sometimes you just can't do that either. We've definitely all been there, and we know what we have to do, we just don't do it. But for me, I think that's what these last 2 weeks have been about. It's been, or 3 weeks, because it was a week before that. So it's been about getting some kind of routine. And as I said, I don't even know whether it was last week or the week before, not to procrastinate, which is what honestly, that is one of my worst things. I will sit there, I will be on my phone, I'll be watching the telly, thinking I've got to do this, 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 and this, and then I just don't do any of it. So I think I've started, well, I don't think I've started, I know what I've started doing is not putting so much pressure on me, not making myself feel like I've got this never-ending list of things to do, because then that feels like there's so much pressure. So I've just started giving myself a couple of things rather than just doing them one at a time. Even if it's something ridiculous like putting a load of washing on or emptying the food waste bin. Just silly little things that make you feel like, because when you start, especially for me, this is what I feel. When I get up on a day when I'm not working, for example, I'll want to clean, or I won't want to, but I'll have to, because that's what happens. So I'll stick a bit of music on, I'll be in the kitchen, and I think I'll just do these 1 or 2 things, but then that leads to other things as well, and then before I know it, I'm on a bit of a roll. And that's kind of what's happened with my food and my diet this last few weeks. I started just creating new habits, I suppose, because even though I was journaling before, I'm now a little bit more in the know, I suppose. I don't know, but I feel like that definitely helps. It helps my mindset and is helping me. So while that is working and that is making me feel better about things, then I'm going with that as well. So what I will say is, if you are finding things a struggle at the moment, don't put pressure on yourself. Don't give yourself too many things to do, like that really long list that is going to be impossible to stick to, and then you feel like a failure because you haven't done the other 5 things that are on there, but you've stuck to maybe 6 things that you have done. always look for that positive. And I know that's easier said than done, and that's the type of person I am. Instead of looking at the negatives, I will always try and find positives in things. So if there are things that you've wanted to do, then look at how many you've done rather than what you've not done. Kind of like this journey, I suppose. And that was not even that I don't even know what I was doing then, but I was doing that. It's kind of had a snowball effect. So whereas I thought, right, I'm going to get back to it this week, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat more veg, which I know we all know we should be doing or we want to do, but then I wasn't doing it. But I have made a conscious effort to do that. And it's kind of just snowballed into me making a better effort. And that's the other thing. We do have to put effort in. And that is where I was letting myself down as well, because I wasn't planning, I wasn't preparing. And when I do put a bit more effort in, I definitely see better losses. This week, for the beginning of the week, I did do plans. Towards the end of the week, out the window that went. And it's fine, because I knew that I had things here that would set me up for the weekend. So that was absolutely fine. And it's paid off. So this week, I mean, obviously I'm still trying to claw back, gains, but I'm not even looking at that, because like I said, you got to look for the positives. So, what have I done there? Smudged my book again, but it's fine. So I stepped on the scales this week, and I'm happy to report that I had another pound off. So I'm feeling really good about things. And somebody said it in my comments last week, and that's the way that I look at it as well. They said lard, I say butter, but it's the same thing. That's 2 blocks of butter or 2 blocks of lard. And that's a lot when you think of it like that. Even one of those, I'm still, you've got to be happy with when you're losing that amount of weight. And do you know what I'm going to do it one day. I've said about it before. I've said about going into Tesco's or Aldi, but they'll just think I'm weird. I probably wouldn't be able to get, especially in COVID times, I know I wouldn't be able to get away with it. Put in as many blocks of butter in that trolley as I've lost. And I know there's kind of like a 2-ounce difference or something, but that would be generally how many. So that would be quite interesting, because I think it's how many, hang on. So I'm going to show you my book, which I've smudged a lot. And is that focused? So 3 stone 3.5 since I started in January 2020, but since I was at my heaviest, that's 4 stone 6.5 pound. Now in pounds, I am going to put here how many pounds that is, because I don't know off the top of my head. And I wonder how many blocks of butter that would actually be, because that would be really interesting. Imagine filling your trolley with that. I'd love to do that one day. So yes, I've got to say I am buzzing at the moment. I'm still on a bit of a high, because I'm still feeling like I'm in control, and that is definitely a massive factor when you're doing something like this. So if you are finding things difficult at the moment, then don't put too much pressure on yourself, because then that has the adverse effect, and then you find yourself just going down that spiral. That's what was happening with me. I mean, it might be different for you guys, but yeah, and keep at it, and always look at how far you've come, because you might think, I'm struggling at the moment and I've only lost half a stone. That is a massive amount. That is 14 packs of butter-ish. So always look at the positives and look at how far you've come. And that's all I can say, because I'm just aware that there are people that are finding things difficult, just from the comments that I've read and the videos that I've watched. Yeah, it's been a really busy week again for me. We're at the sort of tail end of getting this house finished, and there's a lot going into it. And I'm well aware that a lot of my footage lately has just been eating, working, house, eating, working, house. I've not done really anything exciting, but you know, those times will come. That's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of me sharing my life with you. You're coming along on that journey with me, and you're just seeing what I'm getting up to. And if it's not anything too exciting, I apologise. But sometimes it will be, I hope. But thank you so much for your support, for your advice, for all the tips that you give me, because it helps me massively as well. It really does. And I will look forward to seeing you this week for my what I eat, and then next week for my weight update. Thank you so much.